Then underneath, we have definition of constitution, sources of constitution, features, type. Then we explain constitutionalism and then the difference between constitution and constitutionalism. So now what is a constitution? A constitution is defined as a body of rules and principles stating how the power of governing a country is given and how these powers are exercised. That's constitution. Also, you can say a constitution is in a simple term, say the constitution is like the rule book for running a country. The rule book for running a country, ensuring orders, limiting the powers of leaders, and protecting the rights of the people. That's constitution. So it's a body of rules that guide the behavior of people in a state or a country. So we'll talk about the sources of constitution. What are the sources of constitution? How do we get our constitution? So the sources of constitution, when we talk about the sources of constitution, we'll look at the history of the people. The history of the people. So it's actually very necessary. The history of the people is actually necessary if you want to consider a constitution. If you want to consider preparing the basic rule for governing a country, you have to look at the history of the people, their political development, their history. So when you talk about success, one of it is the history of the people, like how Nigeria developed over time, starting from the Lord Lugard's constitution down to this present constitution we have to look at it. Then we talked about the customs and traditions of the people. So when you want to talk, when you are drafting a constitution, in drafting a constitution, we look at the customs and tradition of the people, their belief, their institution, their norms, their value, the value of the people. These are important in forming a constitution. Then we'll talk about judicial precedent. Now, when you talk about judicial precedent, these are past judgments in law courts on constitutional matters. They are past judgments made by lawyers, by judges. So they are called judicial precedent. So when talking about sources of constitution, you look at these judgments. These judgments form part of constitution. Then we have convention. The accepted political precepts and practice. It also forms part of a constitution of a country. Then we have the legislature. The legislature. The legislature, they make rules, they make laws, which are the House of National House of Assemblies. They make laws, and these laws over time they are what they are accepted, they are recognized in the country. Now go to features of constitution. What are the features of constitution? The features of constitution. Now, if we are talking about constitution, one of the features we should look at is the supremacy of a constitution. You know, the constitution is supreme. The constitution of Nigeria is supreme. Nobody is above the law. That's the supremacy of the constitution. So when you talk about features of constitution, we have the supremacy. The constitution is the highest law in the country, and no other law must conform to it. Is the highest rule. So any rules that is not consistent with the constitution, like the 1999 constitution, it's not considered. It will not be accepted. It will not be accepted. So the constitution, the 1999 constitution is supreme. Then we have the fundamental human rights. The constitution, it actually brings out the way citizens have to live in the country. Their rights. The rights that each citizen have in a country. That's a fundamental human right. They list and protect the basic rights and liberties of each citizen in the country. For example, we have freedom of speech, right to life, right to religion. So the constitution actually states out this rule for the protection of the lives of every individual, every citizen, their rights, their liberty in the country. Then we have the process of amendment. When you're looking at the constitution, all these are also in the constitution. It provides a clear process for modifying the constitution to adapt to change if needed. So the process of amendment is actually written in the constitution, how to amend the constitution. Everything is entrenched in the constitution. Then we have um, federal or unitary system. This means that the type of government that is to be run in the country, it's stated in the constitution. If the country is running a federal or unitary system of government or a parliamentary system of government, it's actually stated in the constitution. Then how leaders are elected. How do we elect our leaders is also stated in the constitution. The procedure for elections, all these are well stated in the constitution. Here we have the preamble, introducing the constitution and states the guiding principle or objectives of the constitution. So all of these can be found in a constitution. So what are the types of constitution? We will say constitution. We have two types of constitution. We have the written constitution and the unwritten constitution. The written constitution and unwritten constitution. Now, when we talk about the written constitution, it said the written constitution is a single document where all the rules of government are written down. All the rules of government are written down. So in a written constitution, everything are written down in a single document. In a single document. In a single format document, like the way we have in Nigeria, we have written constitution. The United States, they have written constitution. India, they have written constitution. So why is this constitution, why is it written? So that for easy reference and interpret, can easily refer to it. Like when there is a judgment to be passed in the court, it can refer to the constitution. The constitution states this, the constitution states that. So the written constitution, like example, in Nigeria, we have the 1999 constitution. So easy to refer to and more organized. That's it. So we go to the reason why countries adopt a written constitution. Why do countries adopt written constitution? So the reason why countries adopt a written constitution is for proper documentation. It allows for proper documentation and entrenchment of fundamental human rights, like we state in that features. So the human rights, the people, their rights are written there, so that when it's violated, they know what to do. So when these rights are violated, they know what to do to remedy it. So it's for proper documentation. Then procedure for amendment, like we said, is clearly stated. Yeah, the process of amendments is clearly stated in the Constitution. It's clearly stated in the Constitution. How, like in Nigeria, you need 2/3 of the National Assembly to actually come together for you to actually succeed in amending the Constitution. That's it. So without these 2/3, you cannot amend the Constitution like that. It's not possible. So all these are well stated in the written Constitution. Now for ease assessment, now it helps in actually measuring and assessing the performance of government, how governments operate, what they do, all this kind of thing, check their powers and the rest. So for ease and assessment. Then for ease of reference, like we have for ease of reference, you can easily refer to the Constitution. For example, judges in law court can easily turn to it while deciding cases. You can say, okay, the Constitution stated this, that this. So that's it, easy reference. Then prevent conflict in exercise of power. So each of the arms of government, their powers are well stated in the Constitution, so that there will not be any conflicts of power. The executive, they implement the law. The legislature, they make rules, they make laws. The judiciary, they interpret the laws. So all of these are stated in the Constitution, so that there will not be conflicts of power. Then we move to the demerit of written constitution. The merits of written constitution. What are the demerits of written constitution? Now, they are generally rigid. Written constitution are generally very rigid. They are not easily amendable. You cannot change it. It's not easily changed to the situation of time. No matter how the situation is, it's difficult to actually change. So, like we also have here, say change cannot be effected quickly. It takes time. It takes time. Even when people desire, oh, let's change this, it will take a lot of time. So it cannot be easily effected. Then the types of government that are stated, the written constitution may not fully accommodate, it does not accommodate any types of government. For instance, the unitary, we don't have unitary form of government in Nigeria. It's federal, we operate federal system of government. So the types of government, it cannot just easily say, okay, because we want unitary system of government or one military, so you can just easily accommodate everything without um looking at the constitution. No. Then it discourage reform. It discourage reform. So since the process of amendment take a very long time for it to be amended, and you need to talk, even when you even get those two thirds, it's still very difficult. It takes a longer process. So it might discourage necessary reform because who wants to be doing those long process? Nobody wants to stress themselves going through those process. So it actually discourage reform. Now we'll talk about the unwritten constitution or written constitution. Now the unwritten constitution, the rules are not all in one document. Remember we said the written constitution, the rules are all stated in one single document. They are all stated in one single document. Why? For easy reference. But in terms of unwritten constitution, the rules are not all in one document. They come from customs of the people, they come from traditions, court decision like judicial precedent, we talk about precedent, and old laws. Old laws. So they are not really documented. And this made it very easy, less rigid, flexible. So the United Kingdom, they operate the written constitution because most of their rules are based on their customs, the tradition, court decisions over time, old laws. They adopt those laws. Then based on practice and experience over time, it's based on their practice over time, their experiences over time. All of this shape their constitution. So it's unwritten because all of this, if you talk about the customs, you talk about the traditions, you talk about court decision, they are scattered. They are not, you cannot see them in one particular document. So that's why we say the unwritten constitution, there are rules. The rules are not all in one document. They are not all in one document. The example we gave here, we said the UK, they operate these they operate this form of constitution. This constitution, this is what they use in their country. Now we'll go to merits of unwritten constitution. What are the merits of this unwritten constitution? It's flexible. It is very flexible because it's not written down in a single document. You can easily amend it. So it can easily be changed. Laws can easily be made, and the rest laws can easily be made because it's based on judicial precedent, custom. Maybe the custom is not suitable for the present time. They can just change it anytime, and the rest. So it can be changed quickly, like I said. It can be changed quickly. Since it's flexible, it can be changed quickly as people desires. As people desire, they can say, okay, this is the desire of the people. Let's change the constitution, and it can be easily changed. Then quick decisions are easily made and taken. Because this is not written in one single document, they can easily make decisions, unlike the written constitution where everything are just written down in a single document. It's not easy to just make decisions without confronting the constitution. So also easy to interpret. It's very easy to interpret because it's flexible, it's not rigid, it can be easily interpreted. It can be easily interpreted. Then we talk about flexibility as well as also the same thing as it's flexible. Then demerits of the unwritten constitution. What are the demerits of a written constitution? No check and balances. In written constitution, we said the procedure for amendments, they are there, where government rules are there, there are different duties, their powers are written in the constitution. how their powers are exercised. But when they are not written, there's no way anybody can check on, because in written constitution, the legislative, they know their function, the judiciary, they know their function, and the executive. But when it's not written down in a single document, how would they know their function? How would they check on each other? How would they know that they are actually stepping on their boundaries? It's difficult. Then it can easily encourage arbitrary changes. Changes are easily infected, like we said, can be easily changed. So since the parliament is supreme, a written constitution creates way for them to act arbitrary. So they have the power to manipulate the change. They have the power to manipulate and change the constitution easily anytime. They can just say, okay, this is what we want, and they change the constitution. Then it's not easily known. Since it's not written down, it's not easily known. Just imagine somebody makes decision. Before you hear that, oh, this person makes decision concerning this case and the rest, it will be very difficult. So it's not easily known. Since it's not written down and it's in different places, it's not in a single document, it cannot just be easily known. So no ease for reference. No ease for reference. It cannot be easily turned to or studied. You cannot study it, because since it's written in different documents, like we said, there's no ease for reference. If you say, okay, check the constitution for this, it's difficult. Then it's not suitable for multi-ethnic or multiracial society. So if you want to change it, it actually requires a special procedure to change. A special procedure, like we said, 2/3 of the parliament. 2/3 of the parliament. Then the flexible constitution, very hard to change. It requires a special process, just approval of 2/3 of the parliament. Example, Nigeria constitution, like we said before. Now, when you talk about, I'm supposed to include the flexible constitution. The flexible constitution is, sorry, this is a mistake here. Flexible constitution is easy to it's easy to amend. In a flexible constitution, it's actually very easy to amend. Easy to amend. The method of amendment in the constitution is the same as passing ordinary laws, day-to-day laws. You can just make laws and it can be easily effected. So, for example, we have the Britain. This is a mistake here, sorry. We have the Britain. So, the merit of a flexible constitution is that it can easily be changed, decision can be made easily, and the rest. So the merit is that it's easily manipulated. You can easily manipulate it. The rights of the individuals are not clearly stated. They are not clearly stated. While for rigid constitution, proper documentation, procedure of amendment, that's for the merits. It clearly states the changes for the constitution. It states the procedure for amendments. Then when you talk about the demerit of unwritten constitution, it's difficult to change. So it's also the same as in written. So written, for example, written goes with rigid, then unwritten goes with flexible. So it's the same features, the same demerits, the same merits. So now, what is constitutionalism? That's what we're going to look at. What is constitutionalism? So constitutionalism is the belief and practice that a government should operate according to a set of laws and principles laid out in a constitution. So constitutionalism means ruling by a constitution, where the powers of government are limited by laws, and everyone, including leaders, must follow the constitution. So the powers of the government are limited, and everyone, including leaders, the citizens, they follow. So the constitution states how those powers are being exercised, how government powers are exercised, and puts limits to their powers. It puts limits to their powers. So in constitutionalism is the principle or the belief that government should be limited by a constitution. And not only the government, those that are being what governed, those that are being governed, their powers are limited. Now, what are the key ideas of this constitutionalism? We have the rule of law, we have limited government, we have separation of power, we have respect for fundamental rights, accountability, and the rest. So we know when you talk about rule of law means everyone, including the leaders, must obey the law. No one is above the laws. No one is above the law. So you can find this under constitutionalism. Then the powers of the government are also limited. They are also limited. They are stated there, the powers are limited so that we will not trample on the citizens' rights and the rest. And the separation of powers means their powers are divided, government power are divided to ensure what? Check and balance, to ensure checks and balances. So if there is no separation of power, there is no way they can each equally check on each other's power. So it's also for accountability purpose. They are answerable to the people, the government are answerable to the laws, to the people who appoint them. Because without this constitutionalism, they can just do whatever they want to do. So with this, it helps them to be it helps them to be accountable to what? The people and the law. So what are the features of constitutionalism, like we explained? The rule of law, no one is above the law. Then we'll talk about separation of powers. Powers is divided among branches like the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Then we have check and balances. Each branches can limit the power of the others. Then we have respect for human rights. The rights of citizens are protected by the Constitution. Then we have accountability. Leaders must follow the Constitution and can be removed if they don't. If they don't follow the Constitution, they can easily be removed. Now, when you talk about the difference between Constitution and constitutionalism now, Constitution, a written or unwritten document that contains the rules, principles, and laws countries govern, like we said. So a Constitution contains written or unwritten, they are written or unwritten document that contains the rules, the principles, the laws that guide a country, the law in which a country is governed. That's so inside this constitution, we have fundamental human rights, a system of government, amendment, preamble, all of this. So it defines the structure of government, the rights of the citizens, and duties of leaders, like we have the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria. So when you're talking about constitution, it's a written document that states how government power is being exercised, the rules, the principle, the laws of governing a country, all of these are written in the constitution. How a country is being governed, how powers are being how people gain powers and the rest, the protection of human rights. Then when you talk about the constitution again, he said it's a written or written document, like we said, that contain the rules, principles, and laws by which the country is governed, like we said, Nigeria, the 1999 Constitution. So a written or written document that contains the rules, principles, and laws by which a country is governed. It defines the structure of government, rights of citizens, and duties of the leader. Then if the Nigeria government respects and follow the 1999 Constitution, obeys court ruling, conduct fair election, and protect citizens' rights, then Nigeria is practicing constitutionalism. That's constitutionalism. So we say constitutionalism states it places limits to the power of government. Constitutionalism places limits to the power of government so that they will know what trample on the citizens, and then also how citizens the power limits also the power of the citizens, not only the government, so that they will respect the government. But when it comes to constitution, it talks about the rules of governing a country, those principles of governing a country, of governing a citizen. But in terms of constitutionalism, it talks about how those powers are limited. The constitution states the way those powers are limited. Nobody is above the laws, like rule of law. Nobody is above the law. So I think that's all for today. I think we did not waste time because I needed to finish this on time so that we can move to other ones. So if you have any question based on what we've explained so far, you can ask. If you want me to explain anything, I can go back and explain. So I'm listening. It has its open. You can make comments. You can ask your question. The floor is
Explain
open
the
for questions.
Ma, please can you explain the constitutionalism again? Hello.
Okay. Yes. Let me go back to constitutionalism.
Thank you.
Okay. So constitutionalism is the belief and practice that a government should operate according to a set of laws and principles laid out in a constitution. Now, those laws that are laid down in the constitution, how powers are being exercised. Can you hear me? Now, this
Yes.
constitutionalism now place limits, set rules for those powers to be exercised. I don't know if you understand. So the idea is that the power of government should be limited and must be exercised according to the constitution. That's constitutionalism. Why constitution said written rules and principles of which a country is being governed. Constitutionalism now states the idea that the power of the government should be limited and how they should be exercised so that they will not trample on the citizen. So it's a belief or a system of government that is controlled and guided by the constitution, which means the power of the government are what's guided by the constitution. The constitution. So the powers of the government are guided by the constitution to prevent what misuse of power. Why the constitution it states the rules and principles of how the country is being governed. Constitutionalism now states how these powers are what limited. That's what constitutionalism means. I don't know if you understand.
Yes, I understand it now. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? So when you talk about constitutionalism, it therefore means that government must follow the rules written in the constitution. They just don't come and just operate by themselves. They must follow the rules that are written in the constitution. So that it actually helps to make sure that no one has too much power over the other. That's the purpose of constitutionalism.